UFO expert and Ancient Aliens co-host Nick Pope passed away at 60 after a battle with cancer. UFO researchers and enthusiasts remember his life and legacy. I'm Ryan Geckner, and I'm here with Chris Daly.
What does Vice President JD Vance think of extraterrestrials? What anomaly was reported by an American Airlines pilot while landing in Philadelphia last month? This is Headlines from the Beyond.
All right, welcome back to our latest episode. So we're kicking off remembering Nick Pope, the UK's top UFO expert who passed away at his home in Tucson, Arizona on Monday. You will probably know of him from his commentary on Ancient Aliens, but you may not know his full background and kind of how he ended up there. So he's known for serving in the UK's Ministry of Defense from 1985 to 2006, during which time, from 1991 to 1994, he worked at the self-proclaimed UFO desk, where some people referred to him as the real-life Fox Mulder. So he worked while the rest of us were watching the X-Files. He was living it. And in addition to the media commentary on UFOs, conspiracy theories, and fringe science, he authored 5 books, including my personal favorite, Encounter in Rendlesham Forest, the inside story of the world's best documented UFO incident.
I actually didn't know that he had written 5 books.
Yeah, I didn't either. I learned that. Yeah,
that's pretty impressive, and kind of makes me want to go check out the other one.
Nonfiction and fiction too. Yeah, he's got a few novels in there.
Yeah.
You may remember in February of this year, he posted a statement on his Facebook sharing his stage 4 esophageal cancer diagnosis, where he said, "I'm afraid my diagnosis and my situation leaves no doubt whatsoever I can't beat it." He expressed gratitude for his career and said, "It's all been amazing, and I'm grateful for the things I've done, not mournful for the things that I won't now get to do."
That was an amazing statement.
I think
we read the whole thing. He posted it, and it really, to be able to talk like that and say things like that, it was very impressive to me, and it was really nice to see that he was thinking about all the good things he's done and not, I'm sure it wasn't easy in the end there, but seeing him able to post something like that, I thought was really nice.
Yeah, it was really good. Despite his diagnosis, he continued to work on UAP and UFO research, continuing to do interviews for as long as possible. His wife, in a Facebook post, said, "My heart is breaking. Nick passed away this afternoon at our home. The last few weeks of his life, even as he suffered, he managed to do a few interviews. I was so lucky to have met and to have married Nick. He was a wonderful husband. I loved him dearly." And we got to see him last year alongside his Ancient Aliens co-host as part of Ancient Aliens Live, and that was a really great experience. I don't think I'm as big of an Ancient Aliens fan as maybe Chris is, but it was cool. It was cool to see them all there in the flesh and talking about all of the wild ancient alien theories.
And to show you the type of fan I am, that was actually my birthday present.
That's right. It was.
It was a trip to go see Ancient Aliens Live. So that was fun. And we were lucky enough to be able to see Nick before he passed away. And we're sad to see him go. He left us too early.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Vice President JD Vance. On a recent appearance on the Benny Show podcast, Vice President Vance joined the sort of parade of politicians who have weighed in on these ongoing debates about UFOs and extraterrestrials. So let's just go ahead and listen to what he had to say.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that, because Barack Obama is on this podcast and he goes, "Yeah, aliens are real, but here's where they're not."
I did not.
And so Obama says, "Yes, aliens." He gets asked point blank, "Are aliens real?" He said, "Oh yeah," and then he goes, "But they're not at Area 51." And
where are they, bro?
Well, that's what he says. Okay. Right. That's a great question. Trump had to go save him, and he said he's going to declassify. Okay. So you think they're demons?
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything is otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. Every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
And lots of people have weighed in on this, including my favorite, Dr. Avi Loeb. So let's hear a little bit about what he had to say.
And so I don't see necessarily a conflict between religious beliefs and science as long as everyone agrees that we should attend to the evidence. That should guide us. Let's figure out what these things are. And my guess is that in situations where there is a lot of uncertainty, for example, if the US government cannot figure out what these objects are, then of course people have their own speculations or theories, or they connect it to some past traditional thoughts, and I have no issue with that as long as everyone agrees that we should get more data and figure these things out. And at the end of the day, we might recognize this as something completely unexpected, but we might also figure it out.
So, as always, Avi Loeb has reminded us to look at the data.
Yes.
I can really tell he is a scientist.
I love him for it.
As he says that over and over and over again. And we'll echo that. Yes. Let's look at the data.
Yes.
But what I found interesting about sort of this whole discussion based on Vance's comments was the idea that all of these different paranormal phenomena that we're talking about could very well be the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Are they aliens? Are they cryptids? Or, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
He's choosing to call them demons. Do I believe that they're all demons? I actually don't. But if I were to take a step back and say, well, if we want to believe that everything is the same thing, someone coming from a Christian and Catholic background could very easily say, yes, these are all demons. Yep. So if you take the religious connotation out of this, what he's really saying is something that a lot of us talk about a lot of the time. And that is, are all of these phenomena connected in some way? Are they all the same thing?
Yeah, and there's definitely a strain in the paranormal community of thinking about things in that way, all the way back to John Keel in the Eighth Tower and the extraterrestrial hypothesis, but also like Jacques Vallée and Passport to Magonia. There's still lots of theorizing around what if all of this what if all of these examples are, all of the same thing? They're all instances of the same phenomena, are not distinct in the way that we think about them.
And actually, if you want to read more about some of those books that we keep mentioning, take a look at some of our Substack posts. Yeah. Because we have been highlighting authors of, in this case, about aliens and alien abduction, but we're going to continue doing that, sort of highlighting different authors of some of our favorite books.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of books, I think this story really immediately, when it broke, it called back to a point in Lou Elizondo's book, Imminent, that I will admit I was somewhat skeptical of when he made it in the book. If you haven't read the book, he makes a claim that there are some high-ranking officials within the Department of Defense and the Pentagon that are really kind of preventing legitimate investigation into UFOs and ETs because of their connections to Christian fundamentalism and their own Christian fundamentalist beliefs. And so I immediately thought, okay, maybe Lou was actually talking about something that's legit and adds a little bit more credence to his work, because I know that for some people he is a controversial figure. Now, all of that said, there are still ongoing reports of weird things in the skies. And last month, we got some really interesting audio out of an air traffic control tower not too far from us in Philadelphia that we felt like we really had to include, even though this is a somewhat older story. Back in the middle of last month, an American Airlines pilot arriving from Barbados at Philadelphia International Airport reported a particularly interesting anomaly. So let's listen to that audio.
There was some sort of like flying disc that just went over us at about 1,300 feet.
Sort of flying disc?
I'm not really certain what it was.
Roger, I'm not seeing any targets on the scope, but I'll let everyone inbound know. Thanks.
Tower American 3013, ILS 27 right.
American 3013, Philly Tower 1320 at Niner, right 27 right. Clear to land, use cost previous arrival reported a flying disc at 1,300 feet. They said it flew over.
Okay, clear to land, and we'll be watching American 3013.
American 1837, high speed, kilo spot 6, contact ramp. Do you have any more specifics about that disc, just for some reports?
I really don't. It was black, and that's it, unfortunately.
Do you think it could have been a drone?
It didn't look like it.
Was it like frisbee sized or?
Potentially, yeah, frisbee, disc golf, maybe like a balloon. I don't know. It definitely wasn't a balloon that had air in it.
Roger.
So that is pretty interesting. I'm not sure what to make of it, and I don't think the air traffic controller or the pilot were able to figure out what they thought it was too.
It sounded very sort of like, I don't know what I see, but there it is.
There was a thing, and it is my job to report it to you.
Right.
And I don't. We've talked a lot about this before recording. I guess she kind of felt. I don't know. I guess I don't know what I would do in that situation.
I have no idea.
I don't think I would say it was a frisbee.
I think she was trying to talk about size, but I have trouble understanding how you can judge size when you're looking at the sky, because what are you measuring it against?
Right.
But maybe pilots can.
Maybe.
Maybe pilots are measuring against something that we don't understand because we don't see it all the time.
Right.
And on social media and all over the internet, you've been seeing sort of people commenting on this. And yes, a lot of it is about, why is she saying it's a frisbee or a flying disc? And I can't tell you why she's saying that.
Oh, right.
But, the comments are interesting because a lot of people are saying things like, well, everybody on the plane probably had a phone. That's probably true. They were probably on them.
Right.
But why were they not recording this? Well, if you think about how you sit on a plane and how a pilot sits, pilots have a much better view, thankfully, of everything around them. I mean, we need them to have that. But you couldn't get those kinds of views out the side windows if this is flying above. So just to clarify that, like it doesn't bother me that people didn't get clips of it. And how many of us are looking all around the plane as we land? If you're looking out the window, you're probably looking down.
Yeah,
as you're
not
landing.
looking up probably. Yeah, and I think the thing for me about this that we don't really, at least at this point, have any indication of is how close this object was to the plane.
Right.
Because she doesn't really say, oh, it was close or it was far away.
13,000, no, 1,300.
1,300.
13,000 would be high.
Yes.
1,300 feet, but it's a little unclear where the plane was. Because they were in the process of landing, so I don't know. And that data might be out there somewhere, so we can look at the data.
Yes. Like Avi Loeb says, we should look at the data. So yeah, we're curious to hear what you all think of that story and everything else that's going on in the world of the paranormal. Thanks for listening. We will continue to follow the stories of the strange and the uncanny. This has been Headlines from the Beyond.